Okay, hello and welcome to today's Airmic webinar, which is looking at the importance of professional qualifications in the career of the risk professional. I'm Georgina Wainwright, Market Development Manager at Airmic, and today I am joined by Angela and Doug, who are two of the content developers from the Institute's Insurance and Risk Group, which is a new education partner of Airmic. I'll let the guys introduce themselves properly once I sort of get them to begin talking. But today we will be talking about professional qualifications and how they can support the Airmic official professional journey and the competency framework. We'll be focusing particularly on the Associate in Risk Management, which is a new qualification to the UK, and it's delivered by the Institutes. As ever, feel free to use the sort of system to put through any questions to me and Angela and Doug. Alternatively, feel free to send me questions at the end of the session, or indeed use the speakers' emails, which will be on the final slide. So if we move on, the professional journey maps out the role of the risk professional, starting at the sort of initial studying degree stage, moving through when a risk professional becomes a technical specialist, either on risk or insurance, through to finally becoming a strategic business partner of the business, who can support their organisation at the highest level when it comes to reviewing their strategy and indeed their business model. So as we all know, risk is increasingly getting the highest attention of the business, and members are regularly finding themselves being asked questions both on risk, insurance and business strategy that require quick answers. Our listeners will be familiar with Airmic's outputs, all the way from our technical workshops on specialist risk and insurance issues, through to the formal training we do in professional skills, and finally the opportunity we offer our members to learn from their peers through our industry and interest groups. One thing we've always thought was missing was professional qualifications and formal education. So we have decided to partner formally with a couple of institutions to help cover this gap. Airmic has always worked closely with the Chartered Insurance Institute on their ACII qualifications, but we've also decided to partner with the Institutes, who are an international organisation who deliver formal risk management professional education. Their Associate in Risk Management is held by 37,000 professionals across the globe. We began working with them in 2018 to review their content and ensure that it is relevant for the UK audience and indeed our members. Having gained this certainty, we are now ready to start promoting the course to our members. I know that the Institutes have already met a few Airmic members who are starting to undertake the course, but what we'd want to do today is cover off that education in a little bit more detail and sort of help our members decide whether it's right for them. So I'm now going to bring in Angela, who can tell us some more about the Associate in Risk Management, let us know why it's considered the premier designation for risk management professionals, and also a bit about how this can support the organisations of our members. So Angela, over to you.
Thank you very much, Georgina. It is really a great pleasure to have a chance to speak to you all today. Thank you very much for tuning in for this discussion. So I just wanted to start with mentioning that our mission at the Institutes is to support professionals in the risk and insurance space. And we take that mission very seriously in terms of how we develop our content, how we have it vetted, how we have feedback loops to ensure that it's continually updated and that it makes sense to support the needs of a variety of our customers. So the particular designation we're here to speak to you about today, the ARM, Georgina mentioned, there are many thousands who hold it internationally. It's actually been translated into 2 other languages to support the international need for education. And I'm sorry, in terms of the continually getting feedback on it, I want to emphasize to you how important it is that our content is accurate and stays current.
Okay, excellent. So I know that many people are sort of motivated to do this because it shows sort of commitment to their field. Is that right, Angela?
Yes, absolutely. And I think one of the reasons that we've had so much success with this program is that we understand from interviewing our customers that many people find themselves in the risk management space sort of by accident. And we think that that's going to continue to happen more and more, where the person responsible for buying insurance is not someone who necessarily studied insurance or risk. Our program currently has a good deal of content around insurance and alternatives for financing risk, given our history sort of as a related or a partner to the CII, Georgina, as you mentioned. Our insurance has been our traditional space. But because of that need for education, we find that people come to us for it. It's been over about 40 years since we originally released the program. When we developed it, we were sure to partner with practitioners in the field, not only to create the structure, but also to help us with understanding the relative importance of different things to help people do their jobs more effectively.
Okay. So Angela, you mentioned that a huge variety of people do this, and a huge number of individuals have undertaken this course. Can you tell us a bit about who would do it and why?
Yes. So obviously, people in the role of risk manager will find that this is a way to get not only a look at insurable risk, which traditionally is what they would be accustomed to doing, but also how a variety of risks are impacting their business and how they should be looking at that. I think that they find giving the designation helps show to both internal and external partners and stakeholders their commitment to the business, but also their knowledge. So we have people like Director of Insurance, we have Chief Risk Officers, we have brokers and others who are consulting in the risk management space. We find that a variety of industries are interested in our ARM program, from financial to retail, food, public entities. And I think it's any industry that is regulated is interested in overall managing of risk, as you can appreciate. I think
Great.
as we go, yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. I was just going to mention that I've had a few members come in who are sort of beginning to undertake the course themselves, and they mentioned that not only do they, as sort of the professionals within their own risk function, as in the full-time risk people, want to do the course, but they're also thinking about how they can sort of chop and change some of the content to make sort of risk awareness courses for their wider organisation. So something that maybe sort of an auditor might do, and they don't need to know all of the sort of detail about risk management, but they need to have a more general understanding.
Yes, absolutely. So we do see many opportunities, as Georgina mentioned at the outset. Risk is at the top of everyone's agenda today from a variety of standpoints. So boards and the senior level people are interested in it, as you say. I think if for those who are kind of newer to their prospective fields, that they would most benefit from this very comprehensive program, that you sit for high stake exams, you get a credential after your name. And I think that serves them very well, not only by showing their commitment, but literally by exposing them to a variety of perspectives that they really need to know in order to be an effective contributor.
Excellent. Okay. So I think we've sort of given a bit of an overview on the course and why somebody might do it. I think the thing that all of our members are going to be most interested in is what the actual content is. As we mentioned, it's sort of this program, the Associate in Risk Management, complements some of the formal insurance training that is already delivered in the UK. I know the Institutes also delivers this. But Doug, can you talk us through the sort of specific risk management content that this course covers?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Georgina, and good afternoon, everyone. I am Doug Froggatt. I am the Senior Director of Content Development Strategy here at the Institutes, and I really do appreciate you taking some of your time today to give us an opportunity to talk in more detail about this really exciting program. And I don't think I have to tell anybody there that the risk management landscape is changing rapidly right now. And at the Institutes, we always have our eye on what is going to help you as a risk management professional do better at your job. What do you need to know in order to remain relevant and in order to advance in your career? And the way that we like to do that is we have an expression here. We like to, quote, bring the expert to your desk. And what we would like to do with the ARM program is almost allow you to have kind of a collaborator with you on your job, somebody that knows the cutting edge concepts as well as the fundamentals. And that's kind of the overarching thesis for the ARM program. It combines, as you can see there, the emphasis on the quadrants of risk, the manner in which those quadrants intersect with each other, and the manner in which those risks can be assessed, identified, and treated with traditional methods and cutting edge methods. And speaking of those cutting edge methods, one of the themes that runs throughout our course is the impact of emerging technologies. And Georgina, you can move that slide if you'd like to slide to the next one. We understand at the Institutes that right now, the ability to predict with greater and greater precision future events, the ability for artificial intelligence to help prevent accidents from occurring, the ability for artificial intelligence to simulate scenarios that help with risk mitigation is extremely important to you as a risk manager. And so throughout our content, we emphasize the manner in which data capture, data storage, and data analytics are influencing every facet of the risk management landscape and how they apply to the job that you need to do as a risk manager. And just as an example of some of the specific risks that we talk about in detail, again, we talk about them always in the context of the quadrants of risk, but we do talk about specific kinds of risk that are particularly relevant today, including risks related to big data. I think everybody knows what a big topic that is right now, no pun intended. Protecting your data is becoming one of the most important jobs of a risk manager because data is an almost invaluable asset for every company, large or small, and preventing that data from being compromised or stolen or used in some nefarious way is a very important thing that has to do with cyber risk and social media risk. All of those are intertwined and related to one another. And in our program, we attempt to show how those risks can be identified and treated in a holistic risk management program that can be undertaken by an organization of any size. And Georgina, if you could just go to that next slide now. I spoke a little bit about the idea of holistic risk treatment. And again, that is something that is threaded throughout the program. We realize that it's very important for organizations to not treat risk management as a siloed endeavor. And Angela alluded earlier to how important risk management is becoming to every company now, who's understanding that proper decision-making, effective decision-making in all respects in an organization, really at some level at its heart is a risk management decision. You're always assessing, treating, scanning the environment, monitoring and reviewing all of the risks that are facing an organization. And as a risk manager, you can bring so much value to your organization if you can explain in terms that are easily understood by members of the C-suite all the way down to people at middle management and so forth, the importance of integrating risk management into every decision that an organization makes. And so that is what we're trying to do with the ARM program. And I'm very excited about the opportunity for you guys to take the course.
Okay, thank you for that, Doug. Just a couple of questions from me. So you mentioned that to the piece about communicating, particularly up to the C-suite, especially the executive, on the importance of risk management. Do you sort of cover, how you might communicate the benefits of risk management through to that stage? I know that's a huge issue for Airmic members these days.
Yes, we do. We cover, we cover that, I think, in two ways. I think we talk specifically in the course about the importance of being able to communicate with members of the C-suite and other people in the organization about the importance of risk. And what we all, or risk management rather, and what we also try to do is provide those kind of fundamental tools that allow you to understand how risk management really does intersect with so many other corporate organizational functions and decisions. And so I think with those two kind of pillars, that's a very powerful set of tools to use if you're trying to sort of sell other members of your organization on the value of ERM and the value of risk management.
Perfect. Also, I know that we've mentioned sort of insurance in sort of the background. I know this is much more of an enterprise risk management qualification. I'm assuming that you do still talk about sort of transfer of risk, financing risk, and so on.
Absolutely. It certainly is true that, we're trying to kind of reflect the manner in which we see the risk management landscape changing at the moment. And of course, as we move further and further toward prevention, that kind of changes the context of insurance. But we realize that insurance is still a significant risk management tool that is always going to be relevant regardless of what else sort of goes on in the risk management landscape. And so, yes, that does get its a proper airing in the course. There are still a lot of great concepts about insurance that are communicated in this course.
Okay, thank you. And finally, you did mention previously that sort of updating your content is pretty important. How often would you sort of make changes to the content and recognize, as you said, sort of new technologies and so on?
Sure. So we're constantly evaluating our content based on application orientation and relevance. Those are the two most important factors that we use to determine whether the courses that we're offering, whether the content that we're offering is truly valuable. And our content is a reflection of feedback that we receive from external subject matter experts who are actually in the field, as well as people internally who've got decades of expertise in the area. And so what we try to do is determine when a change needs to be made based on those factors and implement that change as quickly as we can in our content. We do have a somewhat deliberate process in terms of how we update our content. So, we're not going to suddenly change the entire program in 2 months or anything like that. But we do recognize that it is really important for us to remain on the cutting edge so that the people who are taking our courses are going to feel like they're getting bang for their buck and that they're actually getting useful, actionable knowledge.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for that, Doug. So we've spoken a little bit about why somebody might do the course. We've spoken a little bit about what is covered in the various modules that are undertaken. Angela, I know that sort of certainly for me, when I started doing examinations and sort of qualifications, my big tests were how long is this going to take me, and how does it actually work in practice? Can you talk us through sort of the typical journey for somebody doing this this qualification?
Yes, absolutely. So our customers can expect it to take 9 to 15 months. We always have sort of those outliers will comment that, wow, somebody can really go through it quickly, and we're not quite sure how. But I think that it is a bit of a range, but I think that it is very dependent on how much time you commit to spending on your coursework. It is a commitment of time. There is no question about that. And I think, as Doug mentioned, one of the things that we're trying to do as we go forward is ensure that the learning objects, if you will, these pieces of content that we ask customers to consume are relevant, they're application oriented, and they're as short as they possibly can be while still conveying the important messaging. So as we go forward, we're going to do more of that. We constantly listen to feedback around those kinds of things. And I share that only to say that the time commitment, we try to keep it to what is reasonable, while still, as I say, allowing them to get a comprehensive look, and also allowing us to create an examination that, we're proud of and that they can feel proud of as an accomplishment on the other end. We do offer all of our ARM courses in what we call segments, and we have found our customers really appreciate that. As much as some of us say, we shouldn't need to do that. They can study the whole thing. Customers love it, and so we will continue to do that, so that you'll take it in instead of an 11 assignment exam, you'll take it in groups of 3. So I think it's a wonderful option for people, and many of our customers do choose to do that. In our current environment, you can study online or you can study via a textbook, depending on your preferences. All of the exams are multiple choice based. They are given in what we call a high stakes environment, which means they have to be proctored. I understand you have Prometric testing centers across the UK. We obviously have. Yep. Yes, that's great. We can also set up what we call on-site testing centers. I don't know how much that would make sense when it's a small group, but we do it for our insurance carrier customers who may have, 20 people at a time taking exams. But that is an option that is possible to get yourself certified for your people at your organization to test on site.
Okay. So Angela, sorry, just to interrupt you, so you do 2-hour examinations, was it? And you can do slightly shorter ones if you chunk it up a bit. Did I understand that correctly?
That is correct. So the full exam is scheduled for 2 hours. And if you choose to do it in segments, it would be a 1 hour allocation, which, we try to err on the side of giving people enough time.
Okay, and it's all multiple choice questions, yep?
And it's all multiple choice, yes.
Excellent. So for somebody to sort of undertake this course, I know that it's roughly a sort of couple of hundred UK pounds to sort of buy the study materials, then a couple of hundred more to do the examination itself. Something I should highlight is that as an Airmic member, everybody listening in today, and indeed our entire membership, can get 20% off the study materials. The way they need to do that is by booking through the Airmic website. So the link for that section of our website will come up in the next couple of slides. Angela, anything else you want to highlight about doing the course itself?
I would like to just share one other thought, which is that in its current configuration, you get your ARM designation by completing 3 courses. We also currently offer what we call your -E, which would, if you take another course, Enterprise Risk Management, then you would get a -E designation. Our vision as we go forward, and I think Doug set this up nicely in terms of discussing our vision for the future, we no longer want to talk about enterprise risk management as a thing in and of itself. And quite frankly, we've had very few people actually choose that. And some of the feedback that we've gotten around that is, this stuff's all great, but we don't really understand what to do with this content. So we are going to be creating something more practical that will come out later this year. I don't want to put Doug on the spot because he and a team are working on that now. But in the future, we will have the ARM designation plus something around how to implement enterprise risk management in your organization. And Georgina, I think that's where we'll hit even more so to your question of how do you convince that C-suite or that senior team about the importance of it and how to actually get an enterprise risk management program going in your organization. Obviously, it's going to vary greatly organization to organization, but our internal team is doing a great job of establishing what are those principles, what are those key things that you need to do, 5 or 6 items of things that you should be doing and talking about in your organization at the highest level to get that support. But anyway, so kind of a little plug for something that's coming, but also demonstrate that we listen to our customers. And when we hear things like, this is great, but we have no idea what to do with it, we take action and make sure that we fix that.
Brilliant. Thank you, Angela. Okay, so as I mentioned, for those who are interested in doing this course, all of the information, including the modular breakdown of the various courses and the costs, are on the Airmic website. If you want to learn more about the course before sort of taking the plunge, I should say that Airmic is partnering with the Institutes in many ways at our Airmic conference in Harrogate next week. That's the 3rd to the 5th of June, which I know a large number of our members are coming along to. The Airmic and The Institutes have partnered together to put a learning hub in the centre of one of the exhibition halls. On that hub, we'll be doing TED Talks on hot subjects affecting the industry, including a particular presentation from the institutes themselves on the importance of blockchain for the industry, sort of again showcasing how the institutes sort of ensure that new technology is sort of embedded into this course. We'll also have Steve Anderson, who is the international sales team rep at the conference itself. There will be an Institute's table there where you can talk to him in a bit more detail about some of that content. And finally, the Institutes will be running a workshop on their vision for the insurance industry. This will be considering how business managers of corporate buyers of insurance, how their roles are changing, how the business models of corporate buyers of insurance is changing, and what that will mean for risk and insurance requirements in the future, and the way that risk managers should interact both with their colleagues in their own business and with the insurance industry itself. So lots going on and lots of opportunity to learn more about the associate and risk management too. We've been quick today, but we will, if you have any other questions about the course, please look at the Airmic website. I've got the link there, www.airmic.com/the-institutes. And as I say, there's also the opportunity to email Steve Anderson for a bit more information or any detailed questions. So all that leaves me to say is thank you to Angela and Doug for talking today and demonstrating the importance of this qualification to risk professionals. Thank you very much. Thank you, Angela and Doug.
Thank you, Georgina.
Cheers.